Luisnitro91. It's been a long time I haven't done a video. Oh, hopefully this video will turn out good. Now that YouTube is trying to, like always have done, they don't want me to talk about the things that I do talk about. And so they start, messing around with the webcam and all these other stuff. Anyways, I'm going to try again. So this time is going to be different. Hopefully my English gotten better during all this time. Please don't feel offended if I mispronounce something or forget about the words. I'm trying my best to get the message out there. That's what I am, a messenger, just that. And what I'm going to talk about is all the truth. Whether you believe it or not, that's up to you. It's your responsibility to save yourself and your loved ones. And the only way you can do that is by digging every single thing that I say. That's the way that Obama got caught with his supposedly birth certificate, which was all a lie. With his own people caught him. But no one cared. Anyways, that's another subject. So this time I'm going to do it a little bit different. I have someone here that's going to ask me some questions. And hopefully these questions is an answer for most of you out there that really wants to ask these questions or have other questions. If you do have other questions, text under this video and let me know, or send me a private message, and I will answer them with the best of my knowledge. So here we go. You can go ahead and shoot.
So, what's the big deal with Dracos? Like, what's their importance of this world and new system of things?
Okay, this war has been going on for many eons, and this is not new. See, we don't understand time. You know why? Because we created it. Time does not exist. We created time just to tell what is the time in the day of the day. But actually, time doesn't exist. It doesn't exist out in space or here in this planet. We just made it up so we can pinpoint at what time I was in a certain place or at what time I have to be there. Because this is the way this system works, the world order. When they say the new world order, many people think, oh, there's going to be a new system of thing coming up. But it's not going to be pretty, because the new world order is not designed for human beings. Human beings are just what they call maggots, or just people that is not important to them. They look at us as cockroaches. Why is that? Because they think they are a higher race than we are. But the truth is, they have been created by these fallen angels, these evil entities that have come from other dimensions. And many religion believers don't believe in aliens, but that's what the supposedly Bible, even the Quran, has been talking about for years. It's all about alien living among us, and aliens that came from space or the heavens, like they used to say back in the ancient times, and they would come down to this planet and do the things that they did, and that's what's written in history. So the Draconians, they're just hybrid people. Even the real Chitauri, or what we call today in these times Anunnaki, they are a hybrid species as well. You see, it all started like this. When the fallen ones had a battle up in heavens, a galactic battle happened. Okay, so many of these creatures, they just got tossed here in this planet Earth, and they can't go out. And so they didn't have a body because they are celestial beings. They're a being of light. You see, they needed a body, so they started contaminating everything that God has created in this planet, which were the animals. When I mean contamination, I mean that they were creating their own version of hybrid animals. So what they did is that they created the dinosaurs, because most of the dinosaurs, they were lizards with the Draco DNA. So they created these giant monsters, right? So they won't get in the body of a T-Rex. They will not get in the body of a mammoth or anything like that. So what they do, they created this this warrior, this body of a half serpent, half humanoid, and that's what the Chitauri is. The Chitauri is the smallest one. They're about 7-8 feet tall. They're super fast, super strong, super intelligent, and they're telepathic. They only have 3 claws on hands and foot, and they have a long tail. Some of them don't have a long tail. The longer the tail is, the higher ranked they are. And they can live underground, which they have been living underground for a long time, because that's what they are, lizards, giant lizards. And they eat human flesh, and they love the human DNA, which is the soul of the human, which is blood. And that's what they eat. That's what they that's why they call it Dracos or Dracula or Draconian or zombies, or they have all these other names, and because when they created this Chitauri body, when these light beams of light went into the body of the lizard people, now they were had all these abilities, and they can conquer over humans. And this is why the Most High, Ahayaha, had Adam and Eve in a safe place, which was the Garden of Eden, and there was angels guarding this place of Garden of Eden. And he was protecting the animals and the human life, because outside of the Garden of Eden, it was all about dinosaurs. And these draconians, they want to devour whatever God has created. So they were put in the Garden of Eden just to save them. Somehow, Lucifer got in, and convinced the woman to sin against God, and convinced the man. And then the war started again. And from that point on, they've been trying to contaminate everything that God has created. I've said in many videos that the first humans of this planet, Adam and Eve, they were black people. That's why many other countries hate Africa, North Africa. They hate the North Africa. That's why when you go to the hospital, they ask you if you've been in Africa. And if you ask why, you ask me that. Well, because you probably bring a disease from Africa. You see what I'm saying? Because these diseases, they call it back in the 80s biochemicals. I think I'm saying it wrong. Biochemical warfare, and they will release these disease to the population of Africa, so they can die little by little. That's why many Africans are suffering. They got money to go to Mars and see if Mars has water, but they don't have money to go to Africa and give water to those people. They just let them die. So the whole thing with the Draconians is that they needed his body just to dominate over humans, and that's the way they got materialized to live in this third dimension, which is the planet Earth, because in their dimension they don't have a structural body like we do.
Now, you mentioned the lizard people. Now, how about the ones that look like humans and that can blend in between us?
Today, they're not, the ones that look like humans, they're not Chitauri. The one that looks like humans, they are what they call in the history Draconians. The Dracos. There is even a law in here in the United States that defends the Dracos. And it sounds funny, but it's true. These people, or these entities, are the ones that supposedly aliens created. There's many human beings that has been abducted by these aliens that we call aliens, right? And what they have done is that they have taken the Chitauri's DNA and create their own hybrid version of a human being. And they have containers in their spaceships, and on the moon, and on the planet Mars, they have containers full of these hybrid people. And when they choose a body, they put an evil spirit in that body that they created themselves, a hybrid one, and they give it life, and they release it to the human population. Many people won't believe what they have in front of them because they look like humans, but they're not. And it's funny when people start saying, well, you know, when you take a picture of the person, the slit eyes comes in, the sharp teeth, and all these other things, that's because that's what the reflection of the evil spirit they have in, and it's materialized. It's materialized that the naked eye of the human being can't see it, because we don't pay attention to those kind of details. That's why we have many teachers in our school that are hybrids, because they're teaching the human population and the non-human population how to get along together and live in this new world order. That's why they've been teaching a lie within a lie and a lie, because the teachers don't know they're teaching a lie, because that's what they have been taught when they go to college. They lie. You see, it's a chain that goes on and on and on. But you can break that chain. You can start digging for the truth and start believing in belief, and convince yourself about the truth with history. You just got to move and do all these things. So what people call shapeshifters, those are the ones that come from the containers in the ships of these so-called Greys. And you know, the Greys were created by the Draconians, and they're humanoids, and they're really smart. And this is why they don't rest, they don't sleep, they don't eat. So it's, you know, it's a 24/7 thing that keep creating these hybrid people and releasing them in our human population. And in the near future, you know, that movies have been, saying that, announcing that there's going to be a zombie attack in the near future. We call it zombie because that's the only way we can understand things. But zombies are draconians. Zombies are Dracula or Draco or all these things. They are the same thing. It's just different names. And what is going to happen? And I saw a video on YouTube and MSNBC where scientists can flip with a switch. Flip a switch. He can change the attitude of mice, right? The mice can be, or the mouse can be very aggressive, or it could be normal. So that's what the Draconians are waiting for. They're waiting for that flip of a switch so they can start attacking human beings. And even if the Draconian says that he come in peace, he's not going to do none of that, and that he's trying to be kind to humans that can get along with us, no, because they can't help it. Because it's just going to take a flip of a switch so they can turn into what they are. And they can't help it. They're just going to kill. And we humans got to be prepared for this upcoming future, because it's going to be a battle against us, humans, against the Dracos.
But why would they wait for a certain time? Why don't they just do it right now?
You see, because there's a war going on right in our back. And we don't see it, because it's a celestial war that's happening out in space. And it's happening under the ground in our planet. And this is why we can't see it, because, you know, if you pay attention, how many people pay attention to the night skies? How many times have you looked up and just stare at the skies and see if you can see something you've never seen before? No one, almost anybody does that anymore. They just keep walking towards whatever destination and just don't look up. And they don't because they don't want to believe in these things. Even if it's true or not, they just want to keep it the way it is. They want to live in this comfort that they live in. They don't want to look at up in the skies and see the many things that you can see in the skies, you know. There's people that does, and every time they do it, they always see something out of the ordinary. And when they put it on YouTube or some other place, there's skeptics. And people have to realize that most of people that are skeptics about all these subjects, they are draconians, and that's their job, to counterbalance whatever truth goes out there. You see?
Now, if that does happen and they do attack us, what would be the best way to defend ourselves?
Well, the best way, first of all, the best way is to have faith in God, the Most High Yahweh. He goes first in anything. Second of all, get yourself a machete and a rifle, shotgun. That's the best way. Shotgun and machete, or a sword. That's the best way you can defend yourself. It doesn't matter whether a machine gun or a handgun is. That ain't gonna do nothing to these creatures, to the Dracos, because they're too fast. I mean, not the Dracos, the Chitauri. They're too fast and they're too strong. They're too powerful. And they're gonna devour any humans they're gonna have in front of them, because they hate us. And that's the best weapon. Shotgun and a machete, or a sword, something that cuts and it's really big.
So, throughout history, why would they go through all that effort in hiding very important information that, to nowadays, for how much they've dumbed us down, why don't they just throw it out in the open now?
Because this war has been going for many, many years in different levels. You see, it began with the giants. Those were the first hybrid people. Those were the first Dracula, or the first Draconians. Because these giants, all of them had sharp teeth, slit eyes, and they would love to eat human meat. And but humans, had battles with these giants, and many of them were dead, and some of these giants were in peace, and they were cities of these giants. And God, Yahweh, finished them with the flood. Most of them, but not most of them. Some of them didn't die. They came back because they were not. Well, at the story of Noah, what happened is that all of the Dracos they died. But the thing is that they were not only in this planet. They came from other planets like Mars, you see, and the Moon. So they came down to this planet again, and once the land settled down in water and land started coming out, and the giants came again. See, because it's all about human domination. That's why they created the New World Order.
But why would they want to dominate us? What's so important about us that they want?
It's about control. It's about controlling everything. Domination. Because that's what they are. They are dominant entities. And they not just want to dominate human beings, but they want to dominate the whole galaxy, our solar system. And this battle has been going on for many, many years. And the same thing our governments around the world are doing. They just don't want to dominate whatever country. They want to dominate the whole galaxy. That's the main goal. And they are going at battles every single day at this moment with celestial entities that come from the other dimension and space, because it's all about domination.
Now, you've mentioned the Moon and Mars a lot. What's so important about the planet and the supposed Moon?
The Moon. The Moon had cities up there. It had cities and had people living up there. And Mars had people living up there, and there's still people living up there in both places, Moon and Mars, and Neptune and Jupiter and all these other planets. They all have life and intelligent life. I'm not talking about micro life. I'm talking about intelligent life. And all this war happened back in those days. That's why Mars looks the way it looks like right now at this moment, with many ruins of ancient cities, even the ancient cities of Incas and Mayas and Egyptians and Romans. They all lived on Mars. You see, planet Earth was the first humans of this planet. They were all black, African black. You see, that's why many nations hate Africa. You see, they hate them. That's why there are many diseases and releasing to the population of Africa, because they hate black people. See, and because they know the truth. That's why the existence of the Templars and the Illuminati and all these, because these are organizations of some of them are organizations of draconians, some of them are organizations of dumbed down humans that don't know the truth, and they just following the non-path of the draconians. You see, if you think about it, in our human history, white people are the ones that have suffered in this planet. Okay? They're the ones who the most suffer in this planet. They were the most killed in this planet. But I'm not talking about white draconians. I'm talking about white humans that are totally different from each other. Okay? Because there is white humans that came from other planets. Humans, not draconians. Because there are many white draconians that they pretend to be white humans. And this is why they've been dominating humanity and creating these secret societies like the Knights of the Clan and other, societies like that, like the Knights of Malta and Knights of Templars or Templars. Because if you think about it, when the World War II, Hitler, he didn't kill black people. He killed most white. There was white against white. Okay? Now, I'm not talking about just white Americans. I'm talking about Italian. I'm talking about French. I'm talking about all Europe. They were the most killed, and it was very little black people killed in World War II. Because it's not about colors. You see, it's not about the color. It's about the DNA. The super soldiers of Hitler, they weren't human. They were hybrids. That's why they had the SS. Because that was the special army that Hitler had himself. And these guys, the SS, they can go, without water and food for a long time. You see, or they resist cold or heat. And that's why they were dominating. So most white people were, they were the one who suffered most in this planet, because they were killed by thousands and thousands. And I can't understand why is it that the neo-Nazis still praise Hitler as a god. If you're pro-white, just think about it. Most white people are the ones who have suffered all these years. They have been killed by the draconians. You see, it was just a game, and you think the Nazis lost the war? No, they didn't. It was just an agenda. It was all in the agenda. Hitler belonged to these secret societies as well. All that Hitler did, he just passed the ball to the United States. He didn't lose the war. He didn't die like Osama bin Laden. He didn't die.
Now, there's also the situation with the time of the 1700s and the 1600s when Columbus and all these other European countries try to come to the United States and take that over with the Native American people. Why would they try to conquer them if they never did anything towards the Europeans?
Like I said, it was all about domination. It is all about domination. The only way that they can conquer the world in those times, it was by getting rid of the indigenous people. Why? Because they were in the way. They didn't come in peace. They came to spread their junk, their Christianity. You see? That's what they did, because Christianity doesn't come from the Son of God. There's no way in the Christian Bible and the Quran or any other Bible that talks about ancient history, that talks about Christianity. The word Christianity does not exist in the Bible, on the ancient Hebrew scrolls. That was made up by the Templars. And that's what Christopher Columbus did. He came and obligated indigenous people, which they call savages, to believe in this Christianity. Because the Christianity is all about Templars. And that's what Christopher Columbus was, a Templar. And they were killing people left to right. Even the priest was there. And they would call the indigenous people savage people. And they were not treated like human beings. Because most of these indigenous people, most of them, they are a mix of black African. You see? During the time of the ancient Rome and ancient Egyptian and black African from this era, they mixed and created the color of brown skin. And most of these people, they spread around the world, and that's why the indigenous came to Mexico, to United States, to the Caribbean, even to Hawaii. They spread around because they all come from the ancient original Hebrew, which are black people.
You mentioned Egypt. How about the pyramids? How would they be able to carve almost everything perfectly from that height and width?
Oh, that's a good one. Ancient pyramids. Man, I mean, I just can't believe how ignorant people are, with huge logs of wood in the desert, rolling these huge blocks from miles and miles away with mammoth elephants. What a joke. Look, pyramids were made by aliens, period. I don't care if you believe in it or not. They were made by aliens. That's why they were perfectly cut and balanced. They used technology, machines. That's what they had. These blocks weren't put there by human beings. These blocks were put there by gravity levitation. And they were cut by lasers. And they were put together by these so-called aliens, the gods, Ra, Amun. You see? And they all created these ancient cities. The ancient Egyptian, the ancient Rome, they came all from Mars. What they did, once the battle stopped on Mars, they came to planet Earth. And they started conquering territory. This is why they had wars back then. And what they did is, the same cities they had up on Mars, they created here in planet Earth. That's why you see these difference of races among us. And because, you know, you can see the ancient structures of Egypt, and you can see the ancient structures of Rome, and there are different ways of living, and the different ways of believing in different gods. And most of these gods were the same gods. That's why when Mark Antony and Cleopatra they got together, they knew that they were praising the same God, but with different names. So that's why they mixed, and they started creating Christianity from that point on.
Now, I also noticed that with the ancient pyramids, and even sometimes in the most random of places, they have pillars. Not short, little, clumsy type, but huge, gigantic type pillars. What about that?
Like I said, there were giants back in those days. You see, like they say, like they call us, we are maggots, we are cockroaches, we are nothing to them. And these are giant. They used to be giant people. They used to be giant Egyptians, giant Romans, and these giants were supposedly called half human, half God, and because they were, you know, Dracos. You know, they were hybrid people. And yeah, you had these 15-foot tall giants, 10-foot tall giants, 20-foot tall giants. And for them to enter these gigantic doors in Egypt and gigantic doors in Rome, they needed, you know, a place for these people to walk among humans. And that's why there's giant pillars and giant pyramids and giant doorways.
Now, I've mentioned old ancient cities and civilizations. Then how about Atlantis? How does that fit in there?
Well, Atlantis was a city of other alien species, and they were working with weather manipulation. Back in those ancient days, there wasn't no rain, there wasn't no drought, there was not much sea level water, and there was more land than there was water. Now it's the opposite. So Atlantis is right above Cuba, is what we call today the Triangle of Bermuda. And all that place, it was dry. There was no water there. And they have a crystal pyramid in Atlantis, and that's what made the ships sink. Airplanes crash down, disappearing, people disappearing, because this pyramid is still active. And I'm not going to mention where, but there's governments that have been using this technology, using military people as experiment to see what happens if they go through this pyramid of crystal, this crystal pyramid. And okay, send this squadron down the Triangle of Bermuda, and let's see what happens. So they start experimenting on them. This experiment has been going on for many years, and people have died because of it and disappeared. And yes, there is plane down there, crash planes that but it's not. It's just one or two maybe, but there's not thousands and hundreds like have disappeared through all these years. Where are those planes? Where are those ships? They all disappeared.
Also, you mentioned that there was no rain, or everything was a lot more land and less water. Then why is there so much more water nowadays?
Like I said, there's a war. There's a war going on that we don't see, and we don't care of because we don't know. And that's the celestial war. And this war has been going on for many years. And when you start messing around with the powers of this planet, it's a threat for the Most High, for the Celestials. It's a threat. So he would take matters on the problem. And he has come and he has flooded this city underwater so they can stop doing what they were doing. And most of these Atlanteans, they were cannibals, because most of them were Dracos, and they would eat human people. And because they had technology. Where do you think Tesla came from? The idea of Tesla creating HARP and creating all these things that he created, and things that has been hidden to the public. That's the same technology that HARPs have today, controlling our weather. It was the same technology they had back then. But the HARP system is just a percentage of, just a small percentage of what the actual thing was back then. See, it was all put together by Tesla, because Tesla wasn't a human being, he was a draconian. And that's why he was so smart, because he was meant to do that. He was created to do whatever inventions he did.
Now, there was some major people throughout history that were killed, and they call it assassinations, but we really don't know why. Like, for example, Lincoln. What's your idea on what happened to him and what he did?
Oh, Lincoln. Lincoln was a pro-human. Alright? He was defending the human population. And he knew that he had his hand full with these draconians, because one of them killed his mother. And this he wrote on his on his journal, the journal that supposedly disappeared, because he was hunting down these draconians. See, these draconians came from Europe to the United States because they were persecuted in Europe by the humans in the European humans. And so they didn't have anywhere to go, so they came to the United States as pilgrims, Christian pilgrims. And so they, they were free here. They could do anything they wanted to, and no one could say nothing. And that's how they started coming to the United States. And they're among us, and they're just, like I said later on, they're just waiting for that flip of the switch, so they can get, they can be in their original ways and attack human population. And because they've been threatened by the humans for a long, long time. So they came to the United States to live free of oppression of humans, human oppression. So they've been multiplying and multiplying. And there's millions now among us.
Now, many things throughout history have been disappearing, like scrolls, the journal that you just mentioned from Lincoln, and things like that. Where do you think it could have went?
Vatican, government, secret folks, those many ancient things with technology or non-technology things like scrolls and books and journals is top secret. They don't want people to know about what happened back in the past, because they don't want people to, to be scared, because they know if the human population wakes up to all this that's gone on in our noses, they're gonna do something about it. That's why they want gun control. They want gun control because they know that Chita Uri, they are gonna attack pretty soon, this alien invasion. They don't want humans to defend themselves. That's why they want gun control. And some of these accidents that happen with guns around the United States has been orchestrated by secret society. So they can do new laws to control guns or to get rid of it. And the best way you can defend yourself is with a handgun or, like I said, a shotgun, something with power. Because what's coming in the near future is not going to be pretty. They're going to be huge and ugly, disgusting. And they got technology. The only way we can defend ourselves is preparing ourselves with guns and ammos.
Now, I'm not sure about this, but I'm pretty sure on the rune stones, that's what it's called?
Georgia stones.
Georgia stones? It says that they're going to kill 99.9% of the human population.
Mm-hmm.
Are they going to start doing that?
The flood? They're going to flood most parts of the United States and around the world. And they're going to, kill as much humans as they can, because so little humans left, they can control us. They really don't care about their own species. They're Dracos. Whatever, they're going to draw them too. Because like I said, it's about ranks. It's not about, because I'm a draconian, I'm going to be safe. No. Most draconians know the safe zones here in the United States, so they go there. Most humans don't know the safe zones in the United States, so they're going to die. And this is why when you go to these safe zones, you see so many bad people that hates you because you're Hispanic, because you're black, because you're Oriental, or because you're European. Because they don't like anything that is not a Draco. Even themselves, they fight themselves. And they don't like each other. You see, because that's their nature. And that's what's happened. And they know there are safe zones here in the United States, so they live there now. And they're just waiting for the moment to happen.
How about the matter of nuclear warfare? That one country's always threatening another that they're going to do something if they do something else that they don't want them to do. Like, what's your idea on that?
It's just like wrestling. It's all in an act. Okay? Oh yes, I'm going to beat you, and I'm going to hurt you, and they get hurt, and blah, a little loss here, a little loss there. It's all blah, blah, blah. But it's not about dominating countries. It's about dominating the solar system and the universe. They really don't care about Korea or China or United States or Germany. They don't care about that anymore. It's not about that. It's about who can dominate the solar system first. It's a race. And the United States has been in Mars since 1960s. Okay? They're up there. and God knows if these other countries have been, they have gone to other planets and they have released, draconians. There are humans, and they're not going to talk about it. They're not going to say it. What happens when supposedly in 2020, NASA starts sending humans to Mars, and when humans get there, they can't come back. Now, remember that movie Total Recall? Remember when Arnold Schwarzenegger, it was all a TV trick that they were all living, and they were living in a paradise in some sort of island, the winners. But the reality is that they were dead. This is what's going to happen on Mars when people start going up there. They're going to find out that there's other entities living there. They hate humans because of their history, and the Dracos know that, and they're going to start what they're going to do is going to feed the Dracos with human beings going down to Mars. And who's going to say something? You got no saying on this. They're not going to put it on TV. They're not going to talk to the rover, but they're going to cut scenes. Or probably they're going to let them live there for, let's say, a year or two, and all of a sudden, boom, here comes the eating time. See? And I don't trust going up there because, you don't know what's up there. And most people don't know what's up there. And it's just a game for them.
Now, kind of touching back on the matter of World War II and Hitler, you said that they passed the ball. Like, what exactly did they pass on to the United States so they could keep on doing?
Well, the world order, world domination. Hitler was all about technology, and with technology he wanted to dominate the whole planet. So Hitler passed the ball to the United States, and they, like an old serpent, they sleazed themselves to the United States. And this is the idea that's been going on ever since World War II. We've been controlled by Nazi. That's why the Nazi created NASA, and even the name NASA came from the Nazis, because they were all Nazi scientists, and they're still living today. And what they did is just pass the ball, because they know they're draconians. It's not, like I said, it's not about color. It's about species. And that's why they're doing what they're doing. Is Hitler, what he did? He just disappeared, and let United States take over, so they can finish what Hitler was doing. And this is why you see rockets, jet planes, and that's why you see these new spaceships that they have now, and back engineered alien ships, and all these things, because that's what Hitler was working on.
Now, what do the Greys do when they abduct you? Like, is it like different things, or do they always aim for the same thing all the time?
They don't care about you. They don't care who you are, what you are. They don't care nothing about whatever. They just abduct you, use your DNA, they give you a kick in the butt, and throw you out of the ship. And that's how they use you. So they will, take you, either you're a woman or a man. They'll take you, get your DNA. If you have ancient Hebrew DNA in you, and you have other abilities that God has given you, and they put it in another body to create their own hybrid version of you, or of something that looks like you, like a kid. And they create this kid, and they would do these hybrid people and release them to the human population and give them foster parents. See, once they release these hybrid people among us, what they do is they give them Social Security, they give them a birth certificate, and just like Obama, he was given all this, and they give them foster parents. I have a video on YouTube where I talk about Obama's real birth certificate with Barney and Betty Hill, and those are his original parents. You got to see it.
Now,
this last one question, okay?
All right. Many times when these high-ranked Dracos die, do they really die, or do they just go on to their next life, or their what the Egyptians used to say, their
Past life?
no,
Reincarnation?
yes,
Um,
sorry.
see, not only the Egyptians believe this, but every other place that has pyramids believe in this reincarnation and this past life, and even the Romans or the Greeks, because reincarnation is when you're a high-ranked Draco. What happens when your body gets old? All they do is just switch bodies. You know, they take out your spirit and put you in a new body as a teenager, as a baby, or as a grown-up already with a 20-year-old body. That's what happened to Alex Jones. You see, they would take his spirit and put him in different bodies during all this time since he killed President Lincoln. Because Alex Jones is John Wilkes Booth. That's why he knows about history so much, because he was there. He's the one who did it. You see what I'm saying?
So he was basically a time traveler.
Yeah, he's a time traveler. Not with the same body. That's what many people think. No, time travelers are not with the same body. What they do is they take their spirit out and they, give you another body if you're a high rank Draconian. And this is what is going on with many governments in this world. It's just switch body. They don't use the same body traveling through time, because their body decays, and they just give you another body so you can live a little bit longer, and so on till this day. That's it.
Yeah.
Alright, thank you very much. I hope this video has helped many questions out there for most of you. God bless. Take care. Bye.